Now you mentioned 12, 13 years at Total Grace. I mean, that's quite a tenure as a minister of music or worship leader. Talk to the ministers of music out there who may be listening, and let's say they're having some, your everyday challenges. I don't have the best singers. People don't show up for rehearsals or services sometimes. Sometimes people quit. What are some of the words of wisdom that you can give to people in those scenarios?
Well, I would say, and I can say this now, kind of like doing things trial and error, if you will. One of the things I have found is that people, they really don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
And I think it's very important to tap into the lives of the people that you lead. It's not necessary to know every detail, but if you know that, like our situation, we had a lot of single moms that were in the choir.
Okay.
So if they had a couple of kids and didn't have any help or whatever, they may not be able to make rehearsal, Bible study, and a revival that whole week.
Right.
So we would try to work with them on what they could do, because God honors our sacrifice, and He honors whenever we show up to do what we're called to do. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to have an agenda, but some of our best times as far as coming together would be when we would just come together in rehearsal, and if you would just kind of sense that there was a heaviness on a few people or whatever, I would just sometimes open the floor up for conversation. Okay. And you would be amazed at the things that people were going through. I remember a particular time, the rehearsal just was not going well, and we had some phenomenal singers there, but I could just sense the heaviness, and I could feel that God was like, okay, step away from the agenda for a moment. And I just opened the floor up. And during that time, we heard that somebody had been evicted, somebody else, water was off and all that stuff.
Right.
And by the end of that session together, people were meeting each other's needs with money and all this kind of stuff. And I could see that God had a bigger plan than that particular agenda that we had put in place. Right. So I think it's just important to, of course, let people know on the front end, if there's an audition process or a vocal assessment process, what the requirements are, and allow them to be very clear on how much they can commit, how much they can't commit, so the leader won't have unrealistic expectations, and neither will the members, the choir members.
Right.
And then from there, you just kind of make a determination, if that'll work for you, or if the choir sing. Now, I had some people that wanted to sing on the praise team, but because it was more required and they didn't have the time to put in, I would encourage them to get involved in the choir. Mm-hmm. Because most of the time there is a place they can serve. Some women couldn't do the choir, but they could do the women's choir 4 times a year.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So they still get that interaction and still get that time to serve, but they're able to do exactly what they can commit to.
Now that's great that you should say something like that, because I can really respect that approach. Mm-hmm. Because you never know what a person is going through, and sometimes the church is their refuge.
Yes.
For us all. And of course we all like to shoot for excellence and have an agenda and keep things in order and so forth, and always be the best we can be. But definitely, I mean, the greater purpose is to minister to people more so than our program that we've got going on. So I applaud you for that. That is something we all need to take more, pay attention to.
Bless you. Yeah, absolutely.